Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 123, maybe, I think. Whiskey review number 56. As tonight we take a radical departure from anything we've done before. Tonight we'll study Kavalan ex-Bourbon single malt from Taiwan. This whiskey was donated by a friend who travels around the world in his job. See if I can get the lighting right. The lighting is kind of bad here. There you go. And so thank you to that friend. You know who you are. Now just the facts. Taiwan single malt, ex-Bourbon oak, 46% ABV or 92 proof. I could not find this expression of Kavalan in Fort Worth at the three main stores I shopped, but online searches gave a price varying from $90 to $139. And caution, this is a 700 milliliter bottle. Biden-inflation, maybe? I don't know. This is a non-age statement whiskey, single malt, but the website does explain that their whiskeys mature faster because of the warm, humid climate. Now, the total score that I gave this whiskey was a 67. Letter grade, C-. Recommendation: perhaps if you have a better nose and palate for single malts than I do, you may enjoy this whiskey. If you collect exotic whiskeys from Japan, India, etc., then you should definitely add this to your collection. See how you like it. Now for the details. History. Kavalan is from King Car Distillery in Yilan County, Taiwan, founded by Tianzai Li, who had worked with King Car Coffee Company but wanted to found Taiwan's first distillery. And so they began in 2005 and had their first whiskey out by late 2008. Mr. Lee traveled to Scotland and Japan to learn the secrets of making good whiskey, and he hired Dr. Jim Swan, a Scottish chemist and biologist, an expert on whiskey with several academic writings on the subject. He added him to his team. Now, two of the biggest things that impact the making of whiskey is climate and, of course, the water. Taiwan is a mountainous island in the West Pacific off the east coast of China, southwest of Japan, and northwest of the Philippines. The Republic of China lost the Civil War in China in 1949, and the communists set up the People's Republic of China, so folks who didn't want to live under Mao Zedong and communism retreated across the sea to the island of Formosa that during World War II had been occupied by the Japanese, and they set up their Republic of China. Now this is the place where, if you follow the news closely, World War III is likely to break out. The climate of Taiwan is a wonderful mix of subtropical, humid, with sea breezes and mountain air. Interesting combination. The water they use comes from the springs of Snow Mountain. Yes, that's the name, Snow Mountain. Now this particular whiskey, the Kavalan Single Malt ex-Bourbon Oak, starts out as their higher proof Solist ex-Bourbon, but is then proofed down from 50% or higher down to about 46% or 92 proof. This whiskey has won several prestigious awards, including gold at the San Francisco World Spirits in 2017. Gold at the International Spirits Challenge in 2016, 2017, 2020. So, you know, this whiskey, and Rex and Daniel on the Whiskey Tribe or Whiskey Vault videos, they have reviewed this whiskey, and they or Daniel tells the story about how this whiskey went to some competition in Scotland, and it was a blind competition, and it won the competition. And then when the judges found out that, oh, this is from Taiwan, they had a problem with that, and apparently Kavalan was never invited back to that particular competition. Kind of a similar story to what happened to Balcones. They did something very much like that. So for history, I give this a 5 points maximum score for history. The marketing, bottle, and packaging. The box, here we go, is rather plain. It's got some useful information, but the color scheme and print and everything is just a little bit on the plain side, just a brown box. It does have one of the awards that it's won here on the front. Now, this award was not on the website, curiously. It's the 2013 Platinum from Beverage Tasting Institute. So I'm not sure why that wasn't on the website. The bottle, however, is quite attractive. Here we go. I showed it as we started. And it's the classic tall, tapered bottle, round, clear, highlighting the lovely golden hue of this whiskey. The label's also gold with some white lettering and some smaller print in black. There's an attractive ribbon here around the neck. But again, caution, this bottle is a 700 milliliter. So, we got shrinkage from inflation going on there, I guess. But the score for the marketing, bottle, packaging. Now, I've not seen any commercials for this, but I have seen some other Kavalans for sale locally, just not this edition. So I'm going to give it 5 points for marketing, bottle, and packaging. Composition. This is a single malt, so that makes the composition fairly easy. The mash bill's single malt. But they don't list where they get their barley. They don't list what kind of barley. So, that could be an improved thing there. It says that they use the mountain spring water there from Snow Mountain, and that it's aged in ex-Bourbon cask. So I take that to mean it's not finished in bourbon cask, but all the aging is in bourbon cask. That's my interpretation of that. And it is a no age statement whiskey. However, like I said, there on the website, they mentioned that because their climate, their whiskeys age more quickly, similar to what goes on here in Texas. And so for Texas, you can have a 1-year whiskey that's amazing. So this is probably under 3, is maybe, is what I would guess. So for composition, I'm going to give it a 13 out of 15 points. Appearance, 0 to 5 points. This is a very pretty golden color or amber. It's fairly light. I do prefer darker whiskeys for no apparent reason. It's my personal aesthetics. I could find no information on coloring being added. As light as this is, I would think not. But you never know. So here it is in the glass. Glencairn. And again, it's just a very light amber. So I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 points for appearance. Nosing. Now, most of the reviews that I've read or watched mentioned a smell of fresh honey, vanilla, coconut, fruit. Usually with single malts, I do get something. I get the maltiness, maybe some sweetness. But here, virtually nothing. I mean, I smell something vague there, but I couldn't even tell you what that is. Nothing at all. Now, I know I have a nose problem. If you watched any of my other videos, I mean, ryes I can usually smell. Bourbons I cannot smell at all. Some Texas bourbons I can probably smell a little bit because of the strong oak and char presence there. Single malts usually, scotches, I can usually smell something. And so I'm not sure why I'm not getting anything here, but the reviews that I've read really stress coconut and vanilla. Yeah, I would love coconut, but nothing. So, but my nose is a problem, so my baseline score is a 7, and that's what we will give this whiskey. Now let's go in for the taste. On the box, it says it tastes of fresh honey and vanilla, and on the bottle. The website says it's incredibly smooth with a soft sweetness, losing the harshness of the alcohol's edge. And it's a clean, fresh, tropical fruitiness with lingering vanilla, coconut, and spices. Some reviews that I've read or watched absolutely latch on to that coconut and fruitiness thing. Some mentioned that they had a good barrel taste, and a few said did not do that much for them at all. For myself, unfortunately, I'm really not tasting any of those wonderful things listed by others. Maybe in the front of the palate, maybe a little bit of honey, possibly some vague fruitiness. But overwhelming that is the alcohol and bitterness. To be perfectly honest, this tastes remarkably like Bushmills Red Bush, Bourbon Barrel Reserve. And don't get me wrong, this is drinkable. It's not bad. Like Bushmills is not bad. It's drinkable. But it just has nothing that the other folks said it had. I'm not getting maltiness. I'm not getting vanilla. No coconut, and I love coconut. Really. I do get some wood tannins, yeah, but not in a pleasant way. Now, I opened this bottle about a month ago, and I've had 3 prior drinks from it, hoping it would open up some, because sometimes that's what happens with me. Although I gotta say that sometimes with bottles that I don't like it at the start, by the time I get down to halfway, I start liking it. And so I'm holding out hope that that's what happens. But I'm getting really nothing pleasant. So I don't know. I get the proof, and the proof is fine. 92 proof I like. So in fact, I do get a little bit of the pleasant side of the alcohol, but I'm still getting the ethanol along with it. So it does have a nice tingle from the proof, but I just get no flavor. I added 2 or 3 drops of water earlier, which I never do. It did nothing. Nothing. So I've got a disappointing score of 15 out of 25 here. Mouthfeel and finish, up to 15 points. The mouthfeel just is not up to the proof, but it's not thin. No, I would expect a stronger, more creamy mouthfeel. But I think the youthfulness of this kind of canceled that out, maybe. I don't know. So the mouthfeel is kind of medium. You know, it's not bad, but it's not great either. The finish is a medium finish, and it's all bitter. There just is nothing good on the finish. A little bit of the heat from the proof, but I'm still getting that ethanol that's just reminds me of Bushmills. So mouthfeel and finish, 9 out of 15 points. Price, value, and availability, up to 10 points. This whiskey does not seem to be available in Fort Worth. I checked the 3 major liquor big box stores, Total Wine, Specs, and Goody Goody. Some other Kavalans were listed here and there, but this one was not. Now, my buddy who gave this to me is a world traveler in his business, and so he may have gotten this in Taiwan. I don't know. He may have gotten it in Japan. I know he goes to Japan frequently. He's been all over the world so many times. And so I'm thinking he got this in the Far East somewhere. So I don't know what he paid for it, but when I go online and search, I'm getting prices from $90 to about $139. That's the price range that I was seeing. So again, I don't know what my friend paid for this. But value is more to me than flavor. I would say that the value here is still pretty high because how cool is it to have a Taiwanese whiskey? It's just cool. You know, I don't have any Japanese whiskeys. I don't have any Indian whiskeys. So from the Far East, this is the only one I've got. And so and the fact that my friend gave it to me, I mean, so there's more value here than just the price and the flavor, right? But still, it makes it very hard for me to rate because the taste experience was not great here. It wasn't awful, but just wasn't real good either. So I'm going to say 7 out of 10 points for price, value, and availability. You know, it's not available, but uh, you know, so 7 points. Now, is this good neat or with a mixer? Up to 5 points. The proof, 92 proof, would make this good as a mixer, but the lack of flavor means it may not add anything to the cocktail except alcohol. And that's what a lot of people do anyway, is they simply drink a cocktail to infuse alcohol into their system. I mean, you know, that's it. For me, if I want a cocktail, I want to taste that whiskey. You know, if I can't taste the whiskey, I'm just drinking a fruity, fluffy drink. Okay, and I don't want to do that. But using $100 whiskey from Taiwan in a Coca-Cola, that seems blasphemous to me, but that may be the best cocktail for this. I don't know. I'll stick to drinking it neat, thank you very much. But it doesn't have much going for it neat with me, so score 2 points. Now, bonus points. The bonus points are going to be higher than you would expect because I don't judge a whiskey on its flavor alone. I take into account everything that I've presented above, and I emphasize the good or the bad as I see fit. So because this is, to me, in my mind, an exotic whiskey from the Far East, and the fact that we live in very dangerous times that feature that exotic island, Formosa, Taiwan, and that this came to me via a friend who does like this whiskey, I'm going to give it 4 bonus points. So my total score is a 67. My letter grade, which emphasizes taste, is a C-. Recommendation: if you have a better nose and palate for single malts than I have, you may enjoy this whiskey. If you collect exotic whiskeys from Japan or India, then you should try this Kavalan and see how it fits into your collection. When I began exploring Scotch about 5 or 6 years ago, I experienced the very same disappointment with the single malts I tried back then. That was Glenlivet 12 and Deanston Virgin Oak. I went through 2 bottles of each over a year and could not like them or get much flavor out of them at all. It was like drinking straight alcohol out of a Army tin can or canteen tin cup, right? Aluminum cup. That metallic flavor was there. So after about a year of trying Scotch, I gave up. But then I came back and I tried a different approach to Scotch. Part of it was mental, but also I began all over again with blends, and I had much more success. The very first Scotch that I liked, Johnny Walker Red. There you go. And then I slowly introduced other blends and then single malts, and now I'm a big fan of Scotch whiskey. So this one by Kavalan then may be in that same category. It may be I would have to work on this for a long time. Because right now it just confuses my palate. There you go. And when my friend is back in town, I hope to have him and his wife over and we can try this again, and maybe his coaching will help me. Okay? So that's my recommendation and evaluation. Conclusion. Well, this concludes this episode of Stab the Dragon. I've had to slow down production because I'm shifting my time to my history studies, which might eventually show up here. I still intend to do some book reviews and cultural commentary on news items at times, and maybe some whiskey reviews eventually again too. So until next time, this is Stab the Dragon out here in Hope Senyo Winkies.